Hey y'all, I'm back and I have more of your Let's Not Meet stories that I'm really nervous to read. These are gonna be bad. I picked out 3 stories. The first 2 are fairly short, but the third one, long as hell and seems terrifying as hell. But the first story says, there was a woman creeping in/around my best friend's house. This story happened to my best friend about a year ago, and the events were over the span of a couple months. The first thing that happened was my friend, I'll call her Jenna, and her older cousin, I'll call him Rowley, were inside of her kitchen. Her house is kind of on a hill, so her back porch has stairs leading up to it, and it's pretty far off the ground. Her kitchen has sliding glass doors, so you can see her backyard below you. Jenna and Rowley had come inside from riding around in the woods when they saw a woman sprint across her backyard from the entrance to a trail into the woods on the other side of her yard. She described her as kind of homeless looking with long stringy brown hair and raggedy clothes. She was also really skinny but ran very quickly. She asked Rowley if he had also seen it, and he confirmed he had. I had no idea why they never told anyone, but this wasn't the last they saw of her. Why is this low-key giving paranormal SW? But we'll keep reading. The next time they saw her was a few weeks later when Jenna and Rowley were riding in the woods on a 4-wheeler. All of a sudden, the 4-wheeler shut off. No matter how hard they tried, they couldn't get it to start back up. They sat there for a few minutes, checking to see if they could figure out what had happened. They weren't out of gas and it wasn't dead, but it wouldn't start back up. While they were trying to get it to start, they heard branches snapping and saw the lady sprint right by them in the same clothes as last time. She eventually disappeared into the woods. According to Jenna and Rowley both, the 4-wheeler started back up easy once they tried after that. This is so paranormal, it's not even funny. The lady had basically disappeared for about a month until one day Jenna went into her laundry room, which is in the basement. She has a tall black bag type thing, but it's like a square and has a zipper on the front so they could get the laundry out of it to wash it. What? There's no light in the room, so you just have to rely on the basement light to see in the room. This bag was in the corner of the room, and when Jenna turned around to go out, she saw what looked like the lady, who was rather petite, so at first she thought it was a child, curled up into a ball with her head down, almost like she was trying not to be seen. Jenna couldn't see much, but mostly could make out her legs because the light was hitting them enough to where they were kind of shining. She ran out of the room and back up the stairs. Her parents weren't home and she didn't want to scare her little brother, so she locked the door to the basement without saying anything. I don't think she ever mentioned it to her parents because she had forgot about everything until we were talking about creepy things that happened to us a few weeks ago. She hasn't seen her since then, thankfully, but it's still mad creepy. I think that one was paranormal. I don't think that lady exists. If I'm being completely honest. It's terrifying regardless, but what the hell? Because if she was in the house, I'm so sorry. If she was in the house. Okay, this next story says, phone stalker for years. I'm in my 30s now, and this happened when I was about 9 to 12 years old, so it was a while back, but I still remember it all so vividly, and so does my mom. So I was a latchkey kid. You know, single parent, worked a lot, so I had a house key and would just keep the door locked until mom got home. Anyways, we got a call on the house phone. This was right in the beginning of caller ID, but we didn't have it, from a man saying he was calling from the phone company and asked if my mom was home. I told him, I'm sorry, she can't come to the phone right now, so I could take a message, basically insinuating that she was there but unavailable even though she wasn't. The man's tone instantly changed and got very mean, telling me that he knew I was lying and could see my mom's car was gone. I freaked out and hung up before calling my mom at work and telling her about it. She was concerned but calmed me down and told me not to worry, and if he called again, to call her back. I didn't get another call until the next day. Exact same kind of call for days, but always under the guise of a different company. Phone company, cable company, things like that, but it was the same man. Always asked for my mom and wouldn't talk to anyone but me. After about a week of calls, my mom called the police and got caller ID. The police told her it was probably just prank calls and that they would look into it. P.S. They did nothing. Shocker. The calls would die off for a month or 2 and then start back up. Anytime anyone other than me would answer, he would hang up. If someone took the phone from me, he would hang up. The man, whoever he was fascinated with me and was watching our house because he had details about things happening in the moment and wasn't shy about sharing them to scare me. Things like where my room in the house was, what I was wearing, what show was on TV, even my dog's name. My mom had the phone number changed twice. She put our number on the unlisted number list so nobody could look it up, and somehow he always managed to get our new number. And then around 12 to 13 years old, so 3 to 4 years of terrorizing later, the calls just stopped. We still to this day don't know who the man was. I have suspicions on who it was, but I have no proof. What the hell? I love that the cops are like, we can't do anything when he's like literally standing outside your house, like knows what you're wearing, staring in your windows, clearly, obviously. But we can't do anything. this story, I'm so nervous, but you guys, this says my psycho ex stalked me for months and I feared for my life. Okay, Reddit, buckle up because you're about to ride a roller coaster of terror. I posted about 2 days ago about how my ex tried to kill us both. If you haven't read it and want to, it's titled My Psycho Ex Tried to Kill Us Both on the Highway, which I'm pretty sure that we've read. So this is an update that I missed. I actually went back to my old subreddit to look for stories because I didn't really have much Let's Not Meet on the new one. And so these were posted like years ago. But I don't know when we read the original story, but I'm like almost positive we have. But if you want to submit a story, by the way, I will have my new subreddit link down below. It's not like new. It's just the newer one. There's two, whatever. So after that, like I previously said, he convinced me he was blackout drunk and didn't remember the whole ordeal. So like the gullible teen girl blinded by love that I was, I forgave him. He was on his best behavior for about a month. Then he went back to the piece of garbage I knew and loved. About a year goes by and things are progressively getting worse. I turned 18 and it felt like he was starting to lose interest in me. At the time, I thought maybe it was because we had been together for so long. However, now that I think about it, I believe it was like a kink or a fetish for him to be dating an underage girl. He's a predator. He was a sex addict, but it started to become more of a obsession. He didn't want anything to do with me half the time. I would wake up to him watching our bedroom TV and he would watch for like 2 hours, then go about our day and I would go to sleep to him watching it again. I felt like I didn't fulfill his needs anymore, and what he declared then made me feel this magnified by 100. He proposed that we have an open relationship. I didn't want that. I'm a very jealous, monogamous person, but I felt like if I didn't say yes, that I would lose him altogether. I loved him, but my patience was wearing thin with his constant hatred towards me, as well as not showing me any affection. I felt like I was dating a stranger. I agreed reluctantly, but I told him we need to set some guidelines with each other. I wanted it to be respectful of each other and our relationship. Our guidelines for an open relationship were not bringing anyone in our bed, we lived together, not talking on the phone with someone that either of us were seeing in front of each other, not getting involved with anyone that we knew, my friends or his, not oversharing or telling explicit details of any encounters, but also being honest with each other. Absolutely no telling the side people that you have feelings or love them, and being completely upfront with the side person when asked what this is. No buying gifts, food, etc. Keep it business, still maintaining our relationship, not neglecting each other, love each other enough to respect one another, and not seeing a person more than a few times / creating a relationship with them. I don't think this was much to ask for. I was about to say, I feel like those are like very normal guidelines, especially when like you don't even want this. I told him we could try it out and see how it felt. It never sat right with me. Let me state again, I really didn't want this. It's what he wanted and I wanted to make him happy. I wasn't planning on being sexual with anyone else, and I thought he wouldn't go through with it. I told myself if he did though, that I could handle it. I'm sure I would have been able to tolerate it if he would have followed the guidelines and my boundaries. Right away, he began to break our rules, one after another. He began doing crack cocaine as well, behind my back. He began using social media to find a girl. It became an obsession for him to sleep with any other female. Since I basically gave him permission, he took his opportunity and ran with it. Once he found a girl who would respond, he started constantly texting and calling her, speaking on the phone with her all night in earshot while I was laying in bed alone crying and regretting the decision I made. He spoke to her and did things that he did to me when we met. Fuck, it was all too much. One day we were riding in the car, he called her, spoke to her on the phone on speaker for a few minutes. When it was time to hang up, he says to her, "Okay babe, I gotta go. I love you, my angel, bye." My jaw dropped. I lost my shit and we fought the whole way home. I'm gonna kill him. After this incident, I was broken. The following week, we hardly spoke. He was sleeping on our couch. It was coming to an end. Monday night comes and he comes into our bedroom, tells me he loves me and that he's sorry. He kept saying he didn't want to lose us. The next day, he was supposed to go with his friend to go pick up a truck in a town 8 hours away. He dropped me off at my mother's and took my car to his friend so they could go, saying he wouldn't be back until the following morning. Later that night, around 8, I went to the local superstore to buy some groceries for my mom. We pull into the parking lot and I see a car that looks just like mine. My car's an oldie and the color's unique. Seeing another car like mine would be super rare. As we drive past it, I look through the car's windshield and sure enough, I see my ex in the car with another woman. She was the girl he was talking to. He didn't see me. I couldn't sleep, sat up all night just staring into space, thinking about my next move. He tried to sneak in at 5 a.m., but I was awake and he tried to play it off. I immediately called bullshit and told him I saw him and that he wasn't following our guidelines. So I decided that when the sun came up, he would take me to our home so I could pack my things. In my car, I discovered empty beers, shots, open condom wrappers all over my car. I was disgusted. I pack all my belongings in my 2-door little car, all while he's apologizing and saying he wished him, her, and I could all be happily together. He was always a cheater, but this was my final straw. He betrayed my trust too much this time. For about a month, he would call and threaten, telling me that since we broke up, he became heavily addicted to heroin. I met my current fiance and told my ex that I met someone. I needed him to just let me go, that he made his choice. I disconnected my phone, and for about a week, it was bliss. I knew from the minute I met my fiance that he was my forever. Somehow, my ex found out I was working at the job I was working at the time and began coming and asking for me or sending people to see if I was there. I hid in the office every time, which was multiple times a day. He would do this every day. I would see him everywhere in the small town I was living in, which was odd considering he lived in the next town over that was at least 30 miles away. He looked horrible. He had lost about 60 pounds and his face was picked at everywhere. He knew where I lived. I had trouble sleeping, knowing he had access to guns, and he was desperate. I imagined one night he would come and kill us all. One morning, I awoke at about 5:30 a.m. to loud bass from a car stereo outside my bedroom window of my mother's house. I peek out to see my ex in a brand new Challenger, which I told him was my dream car, sitting there. Once he saw me looking, he did a burnout and took off. That was it. I didn't even change. I got up and went to the courthouse to file a restraining order. It stayed quiet for a while, probably because he got the letter that he had to go to court for stalking. My day to see the judge arrives to get my restraining order finalized. I was nervous thinking about how I had to sit in the same room as him and listen to him try and manipulate the judge into thinking I was lying or something. I never put anything past him. He didn't show up. I was relieved. Halfway through my court hearing, a woman comes in and says he's on the phone and would like to address the judge via speaker because he couldn't be there. She told him because he didn't show that the case was automatically in my favor and that nothing he said mattered anyways, so she granted a 1-year order. However, she let him speak, and he asked her if after the year if he's allowed to speak to me. She said that was up to me, and he asked if he could say one last thing. Then in his words, "Baby, I love you and I'll wait as long as it takes." She hung up before he could continue and told me she wouldn't let him manipulate me in her courtroom. God bless her. I love her. It's been 2 years. Life has been peace ever since, with a loving man and a beautiful new baby. As for him, I can't say the same. As far as I know, he's still an addict, homeless, totaled his brand new Challenger. He's in and out of jail and currently wanted by the cops. Karma must have really taken a toll on him because when he lost me, he began losing everything. He knows he will never know someone who will love him so unconditionally like I did. But that's not my problem anymore. I'm free. So to my psycho ex who fucked me over then stalked me continuously for months until I had to get a restraining order, this is the last time I put energy into you and I hope we never meet again. I am so happy for you. It is unbelievable. Words cannot describe how proud I am of you, of like finally getting out of that and moving on and being in such a good place. Like, I love you, bitch. Even though you posted this forever ago, I hope you're still thriving. But that's all I'm gonna read for now. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys have any other Let's Not Meet stories you wanna share with me or the community, I will have my subreddit linked down below. I'm trying to get myself ahead on videos enough to where I'm like a week or two ahead so that I don't have to be like constantly stressed the week of. My job is very easy, and I have no reason to be stressed ever, even when I have to record week of. It's so easy to do that, but for some reason my brain is like, no, this is the most stressful thing you've ever done in your life. So I'm trying to get ahead, which I've been doing a really good job, but I'm filming so much right now that I don't really have anything to ramble about. So I apologize for that. But for some reason, filming 7 million videos in a week is easier than just doing it like 2 videos the week up. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. Whatever. So I don't have anything to ramble about, but I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.